Ijaja well, come on. Ebi jaja well, come on. Ọmọ orí ọ̀nà ẹja ajá ìdúró ọlọ́dúnrún yòóyòóyòó péré. Òwe mi ló bá mẹ́mí rà ọgbà ayé náà sojú kòkó náà ìpèrè. Ó sojú kòkó náà ìpèrè. Òbọ́lé ní ẹ̀rẹ́ kí pé bùrọ̀ wá mẹ́mí ní ọ̀bọ̀lẹ̀ orun mẹ́mú péré.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and hello, Urobo. This is Urhobocast with Onos Shanams at urhobocast.com. I would like to welcome everyone to the third episode of this podcast and to say a very big thank you to everyone that have found time to listen to the previous two episodes. Just to recap, the first episode was an interview about the general happenings in Urhobo, UK. And on the day I discussed with a brother, a friend, the person of Chief Mejero Uwejeya, who threw light on various matters as they affect Urhobos in the UK. On the day, mention was also, made about the happenings in the UPU, which is the UPU question. And we ended by a suggestion that plans are on the way to resolve these issues one after the other. Consequently, we decided to record the second episode, which took a bit of time. That is because as time goes, we encountered some technical issues. But as luck would have it, when we decided for the second episode, I met with Chief Philip Emagbetere, who is the chairman of the Urhobo Council of Chiefs. The Urhobo Council of Chiefs, together with the Urhobo Kingdom clan heads, formed a committee which called itself the Urhobo Leadership Forum. And on the 24th of April, they called an Urhobo General Meeting to be held in All Saints, Lewisham. And that meeting was called in order for all Urhobos to come together to discuss the way forward for all Urhobos in the UK. And during that interview that I had with Chief P. Emagbetere, he specifically called on all Urhobo youths to take up the challenge of leadership and of change and to get actively involved in all Urhobo matters. After that interview, it became apparent that there are so many things that are taking place in the Urhobo circle as far as the UK is concerned. So now this is the very third episode, and joining me are two of Urhobo's son and daughter. These are people who have been in the Urhobo circle for quite a while now, taking part in activities as they come. Mr. Sylvester Efole, one of them, and the other is Miss Mejero Uwejeya. Mr. Sylvester Efole is a guru in finance in one of the top UK law firms, and Miss Uwejeya is a staff of the National Health Service, all in London, UK. So we are going to go into this discussion proper. But first of all, good evening to you both, and welcome to Urhobocast.
Good evening.
So now, the Urhobo General Meeting. You were present, Mr. Sylvester Efole. Ms. Uwejeya, you were also present. What are your reactions, Mr. Sylvester Efole?
Oh, one of pride, actually. Pride in the ability of Urhobo people to come together when their issues to be resolved. Kudos, a lot of praise to the Urhobo Leadership Summit, they're called.
Yes.
The group that called the meeting yesterday. It's something I want to thank them for. But then more work needs to be done. From what I said yesterday, we have two Urhobo groups in this town. The whole idea is to make sure there's only one Urhobo group, and hopefully they will work a bit more to achieve that. I'll leave it here at the moment. Maybe let our other guests have a shot at it.
Thank you very much. Mejero Uwejeya, can you react to this, please?
It was a very interesting meeting yesterday. It was good to see people with different viewpoints coming along and meeting for one common purpose. the general vibe was that everybody wanted one Urhobo, whichever way it came about, but you could feel that in the room, and it was nice to see the clan heads and the council of chiefs working really hard, to move forward the agenda. So I was proud to see a varied group of Urhobo people there yesterday, talking about how we can move ourselves forward. So it was very good.
Thank you very much. Now, yesterday, the basic points that were discussed, or those points that were agreed on, one of them was that the Joint Committee of Urhobo Council of Chiefs and the heads of clans should continue with what they are doing, which means the generality of Urhobos in the UK agree and have given their support to the work that they are doing for Urhobo right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we agreed yesterday. And I don't know if you came in early, that was the point I actually put forth when I had the opportunity to speak. I did say that success for the Urhobo Leadership Summit should be measured on the ability to collapse the two Urhobo groups into one. And I did ask them what will be their level of success. If they were not, if they don't consider what they've done so far to be successful, then they have to do a lot more. So I wasn't surprised, and I was quite pleased actually when they said, when the House agreed that right was to carry on and not take any unnecessary votes just yet. We need to carry on. Try to get group number two, no matter how difficult it proves, to come to the table in one shape or another. Because privately, I am aware of other moves being made to get number two group to come to the table. Privately, I'm aware of those. And of course, I do agree with one of the clan heads yesterday, Sammy Riviere, who said that there was like a little glimmer of hope in the tunnel.
Right,
I'm aware
at the end of the tunnel, yeah.
Yes, I'm aware of that, and I know it's going to happen at some point. So we keep on. Let them just keep on. They have 100% support of mine, and I'm sure that's as well. We keep on. That they carry on what they're doing. We praise them, we thank them, but they must not give up right now. They need to carry on and do a bit more to achieve complete collapsing of 1 and 2 to just 1.
Yes, and something else that that actually came to the fore is a kind of agreement by all that this time around Urhobo must be one, which means we must all unite. Mejero.
Exactly.
Yes. What I found interesting is that what I liked about the forum is, from my time observing Urhobo affairs and how it's done, you normally have a committee that deliberates and comes back and tells the people, and then the people just follow that. But what was interesting, before we agreed to continue the arbitration, actually they fed back and told us all the work that they'd done previously, and then gave us 3 options. And collectively, we deliberated with them, and we came up with the view that obviously we wanted to continue the arbitration and how we can get to that united front. So it was everybody participating and everybody putting their view across and, reaching a consensus of, yes, we really want this, we really want to be united. And that was good.
What would you say about that one?
Yeah, that was a good point. As I said previously, we have all agreed. Somebody was saying yesterday that you can't say all, that we should use majority. So probably I would say majority of all yesterday agreed that we need the mediation to continue. And let's face it, I don't know if there's another option right now. I'm using right now because if the mediation fails, it fails. Then we take the next step. What do we do? But right now, I still believe that there's scope, there's room for further mediation, and it should continue. And I'm sure, in one shape or the other, we will have a breakthrough. When? I think it's not too far away. Let's keep at it. And I really want to thank them again that they have done very well. These are elderly people with plenty of responsibilities. They have given their time, and long way continue. So fingers crossed.
Yeah.
However, I would say we made good progress yesterday, and everybody was behind. And how I felt when I left there was yes, we've reached consensus and they will continue the arbitration. But what I don't want to see, and I think we kind of fall into that many times, is prolonging the arbitration because it's not necessary. At some point, we need to take a stand and say firmly, we've reached the end of the arbitration, the mediation, and this is what we want to do. I think at some point, other people need to stop being afraid and actually say, this is what we want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I quite agree with you there, Mejero, but is there not a sense that we shouldn't actually be too much in a hurry, that we should try as much as possible to exercise patience, because there is a saying that nothing good comes easy, and everyone must work assiduously with a lot of wisdom and tact to make sure that things move forward.
I agree. However, one thing that was mentioned yesterday was that we didn't want to revisit what happened in the past. We didn't want to go back to 2012. We wanted to concentrate on what's happening now.
Okay, well...
But the reason why we're still in the same situation is because we've exercised patience. And so it's how long do you want to keep exercising patience when there are no results? It's just, how are we going to... It's just like Sylvester said, how do you measure success? And when do you know you're working or it's not working? I mean, we had a lot of people that were really passionate about moving this forward and actually wanting clear objectives and, clear timelines, and actually saying, when are you going to say enough is enough? And we need to address that. When is enough enough?
Exactly. Mitchell, I truly agree with you. That's what I said a few minutes ago, that I hope it's not for too long. And I'm not sure it's going to be for too long, because as I said, I have some other knowledge from some other areas about this. People working hard behind the scenes to make sure that this does not stay for too long before being resolved. But I share in your fear. I'm not a pessimist. I'm an eternal optimist, people say to me. But in this instance, Mejero, I do have little fears that we may not just crack it, not just yet. But fingers crossed, as I said, I pray. I am working, other people are working, make sure you're working, Robo working to make sure this is resolved. But I just have a slight fear, because I know something, or know one or two things that may just stand in the way of this. But fingers crossed, we will cross that bridge, I pray.
Yeah, so how about look at it this way, that the journey of a million miles start with one step, and the step has been made.
Yes.
That step has been taken, because we are determined. For instance, the outcome for me is going to be ever positive.
Karen.
Okay.
Sorry.
So I would say, sorry. So I've been around Urhobocast for a few years now, and you see people come and go. And each time a new person comes, they're very positive. We can make the change. And then they get fed up and they leave. The next person then comes along. And whilst it's good that we have new people that come along, but actually sometimes they bring us back again, because they say, no, let's try again. And at some point we need to stop and say, no, that's my personal view. We need to stop and say, no, actually, what do we want to do? We're very good. Urhobo people are very good at voicing an opinion, but it never really takes them anywhere. And it's time to use those opinions to move us somewhere.
Exactly.
So
Karen,
so what about, for instance, this might be playing the devil's advocate though, but I know this was actually said at the meeting, that whichever side of the divide agrees to work with Urhobo. Don't forget that when it was being said, they said we've got 3 sides in Urhobo right now. We've got UPU1, UPU2, and those people who are in between, who have not decided. Those people who want to be part of Urhobo, but they can't be part of a divided house. And because of that, they have stood somewhere. Now, there is this saying yesterday that whichever sides agrees to work right now with the committee as it is, we just go along with them. I'm just bringing this up because of what Mejero said, that there has to be a time where we must, stop short and say, you know what, let's move on. Let's take the bull by the horn. Let's just go forward and see what happens.
Yes.
But, okay.
Karen Mejero.
I was going to say, there was something that was mentioned yesterday, and it was about if I'm going to get this correctly, is about the purpose of the meeting, and it was about the unity of Urhobo, not necessarily about UPU. And we just need to sometimes make that, understand that we're all about one Urhobo, not necessarily about UPU, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if I explained that properly, but sometimes I think we get the two mixed up. I think everybody wants one Urhobo, but anyway, so.
Okay, I just think that maybe that wasn't made to, that stance was not put too clearly yesterday, because I'm sure there would have been a lot of people saying no to it. Because I tell you that they came in there yesterday so that they can have one UPU. Essentially, Urhobo, people are one in this community. You don't have divided Urhobos, you have divided UPU. Families are still together, friends are still together. I have friends in the Ganiga account. Ganiga is my friend. He calls me, right. Everyone knows Nero is one of my best friends. We are together and we tango. That's my group where I'm assistant secretary, or was until March or whatever. So, Urhobos, we really don't have a problem. Is the UPU, is the two groups in the UPU that are causing the problem. And there has come a point where we decide what to do. But the decision we'll make is what I'm wondering about, whether it will then make this whole exercise in failure or exercise in success. Success if we eventually end up with one UPU. Failure if we end up with, say, okay, as the moderator said, said that there are three groups. If three become two, you still have two UPUs. So where do we go from here? And somebody said something yesterday, just to quickly add, somebody said something yesterday, and you had a broad, muted response. It wasn't challenged aggressively as something not to consider. Someone said yesterday that if it is agreed that one side is the group that is recognized by Nigeria, why can't everybody go register there and do the elections and vote for their own candidate? But you and I know that basically will probably not work, because there's a group that will say, me, I can never go there to register. But looking at it, as I got home, I was thinking about it. Was Danogo that would say yesterday, because he was standing next to me, that if we are so keen on resolving this issue, getting the leadership we want, then really, if we know the one that is recognized, we all go there and register and vote in our persons and vote out those we don't want. I was just thinking about yesterday. Would that work? I don't know. But these, hard decisions we have to make made at some point. I think we're coming very close to that point now.
Yeah, for me personally, the call for people to go and register on the side that is recognized, it sounds like an insult in the ears of certain Urhobos.
Exactly.
So what are you, because the question is, what are you then trying to say, that we are not recognized? That is the point of the conflict now.
And it was raised yesterday.
You just said it.
Exactly. So the question is there not a sense that both sides can then meet in a middle ground? Now, there has to be, because, the call for people to go and register on the particular side has been on for over 3 years now.
Exactly.
Okay? Now, it is not new. Anybody who is still coming up to say, let's us go over there and register, for me, suffers from the poverty of thought. You need to start thinking out of the box. We have heard that before. You need to start thinking, what are the new ways that we can get these people together? All right? We don't want those old things. We know everybody. Listen, once you say, come, let's go, who are you going to carry? You can't carry anyone. Yeah.
I had the same question of Danogo, who proposed it yesterday. And he eventually, in fact, I concluded that was the elephant, that was the big elephant in the room.
Exactly.
Nobody wants to talk about. The big elephant is simply that somebody somewhere says, I am the recognized one. I'm not throwing away my mandate. You want to come and vote me out, come and register with one recognized. This whole thing boils down to the fact that, do we really need to recognize any faction or not? If we don't need to, then we do what we need to do. But if we need to, then we need to address this issue. Which of these two groups do we then recognize and deal with? But he also pretends be fair. The reality is that if you then choose one side, effectively the other side will carry on as usual, and then we end up with the same two groups. So where do we go from here?
Yeah, that brings me up to, this particular contentious issue. Now, when you say that this is the recognized side, for instance.
It's how we find out which is recognized.
Exactly.
Party. It's how. Because one is recognized locally here, the other is recognized in Nigeria. So where do we... Exactly. Those are the splits we have right now. One is in Nigeria recognized. One is here recognized. Or two are here recognized, let's put it that way. But one is more recognized than the other here. Has more followership than the other here.
Yes.
Back home, one has more followership than the other. In fact, one is officially recognized. So it's messy. It's messy, but we need to pick through this.
Exactly.
If we're able to do this, I'm sure we'll get some.
So that is the reason why we need to meet at the middle.
Yes.
Now,
where is the middle?
Let me give you a little information about something that we did some time ago. I'm a member of Efole, and some time ago we went to UPU1 to go and pay a visit. It's exactly because of this whole issue as well. And we were like, sir, we know that there are issues. These issues have been there for years. Now, to resolve this, we need to let certain things go.
Yes.
First of all, our ego needs to be dropped aside because of Urhobo. Not for anybody. Sacrifices must be made to be able to bring Urhobo together. Now, the good thing about this whole thing that we've been discussing since is the fact that Urhobo people in the UK are tired of this whole thing. Now, it means that we are ready to give peace a chance. Now, for that to be, first of all, anything that will infuriate people has to be taken out.
That's correct.
Anything that you would throw and annoy certain quarters needs to be dropped, which means we have to be politically correct in whatever we say and in the things that we do. Now, this goes to these two fashions. I don't know how you guys think, what you guys think about that. The swords that have been brought out need to be shielded, all of them, put back where they are so that there can be a kind of atmosphere of peace where people can talk. Even at the meeting yesterday, you can see that there are tempers flaring up a bit.
Yes.
But we thank God for Chief Philip Emagwetere. For me, he's a leader. He's somebody who has a lot of patience, and he has been able to steer that meeting yesterday till the conclusion, bringing everybody back to what is at stake, and not the distractions. So for me, I'm thinking now if we have a leader like that, who is willing to listen, who is willing to say, you know what, I'll be in the middle ground. Why can't we, as Urhobo, from both sides, empower this man to say, you know what, do what you're doing. Let's see where we get to.
I thought we did that yesterday. Everybody
did that yesterday.
To carry on with it.
I'm saying both sides, because it's not both sides that actually want
both sides.
this.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I essentially I can almost tell you that Ganeka's side will not be saying that. I do know that they don't wish for the committee to conduct any elections for them. I do know that they would rather they conducted these elections by the people they themselves have selected, okay, under their auspices. They are willing to say they call 5 people from Angles, 5 people from their side, and 5 market women, 5 teachers and all in the community to say, okay, we mandate you guys to register our Urhobos and do the elections, but it has to be under the auspices of our UPU, because we are the ones recognized.
Okay.
That is the big issue here. They don't want anybody taking from them the powers they are supposed to have received from the late Azra, having been sworn in by the man President General. That is their own take, that they are the one that should be in control of getting people to come register and getting people to do elections, whether he runs or not. He believes that his power UPU needs to be in control of this, and not some group that is not recognized or wasn't voted for, not sworn in by President General. I think that's where the bear bug really lies.
Yeah, that is, but that is understandable. But what if, for instance, they who say, well, we've got legitimacy, then say, okay, you know what? This is getting out of hand now. How do we get our people back? Because the truth of the matter is, a lot of people are tired of this whole thing and they rather stay in their own homes. Yeah?
I think most people really.
Yeah, most people. Now, what if they say, okay, now, there is a process that is going on right now. We as UPU, for this to continue, we want you to work under our umbrella. To say, we, UPU, have mandated you to call Urhobo together to organize an election. Because whether you like it or not, that same UPU have used contractors for certain things before. True or false?
No, you see, because maybe if you... I'm trying to be careful here. What I say. The truth of the matter is that is essentially what they are proposing. But they don't want it to be that is Magotere and Councillor of Chiefs and clan heads who are running with this. If you said to them today that, look, okay, if we were to go to them and say, look, okay, Ganiga and Co., you guys choose those from the community who will conduct elections, do registration. I'm sure we would have cracked that little chink into a massive entrance they want to walk through.
Yeah.
Because they are just looking for power. If we then go to them and say, look, Ganiga, okay, we Council of Chiefs, this is where we are. Give or tell us people you want who should conduct these elections and whatever. You, Ganiga, tell us. I'm sure that would be the most massive breakthrough ever. Because I'm having
a question. Sorry.
Yes, please. Yeah.
So I'm listening to this, and so are we in a position now that we're just waiting for Ganiga to say, waiting for Ganiga to give us the go-ahead? You know, we're just waiting for Ganiga to say, yes, I'm ready to participate on my terms, because it sounds like we want unity. How do we get this unity? Let us compromise and say, Ganiga, you run the elections, but thank you for allowing us to bring people to join in and oversee it, because that's our only option now.
I see, Mejero, you are not too far wrong, unfortunately. That's
it.
Big
and
elephant.
And that's what we're going to.
Big elephant in the room.
I don't understand, because somebody stood up. We had a gentleman that stood up, and he, made it very clear. He's just come from Nigeria, and he's told us what's going on there, and he made it very clear what's happening. And he said that the Council of Chiefs and the clan heads are the highest authority here, and whatever they say goes. Yeah. Why are we not using that? What do the Council of Chiefs? Yes, they gave us 3 options, but what is the final point? Where do they expect to see us going? Because we're doing mediation just to get Ganiga to appease Ganiga, and I don't really want to go down the Ganiga route, but that's where we keep ending up, and it's a boring story now.
Unfortunately, there are 2 gladiators here to pass away. One has concluded his term, our term, and the other is still sitting till August.
Yes.
Right. The way it is, unfortunately, we'll have to deal with the devil here. Otherwise, we can carry on. Nothing stops us.
Exactly.
Carry on in the knowledge that we'll have to UPUs. That's all. And it's not new. It's not the first time. It's not the second time. It's not the third time. In fact, in the U.S., they've been like that split for the last 9 years plus. So it's not the first and the second. It's just that people here feel we're a small community, really. We cannot be split. Let's make every effort to be one. It's the effort that the Council of Chiefs or the Urhobo Leadership Summit have been doing, and they've been asked to do further. As I said, and as you and I said, there has to be a point where we say enough was enough.
Yeah.
What do we do from here? We haven't reached that point yet, but I just hope that it's not too far ahead.
Yeah, that brings me to this other question that I think it was mentioned yesterday at the meeting, that UPU is a private limited company.
That was rubbish. I can tell you that they are lucky that I was actually not part of the UPU at that part of that UPU. I would have written to the company's house to tell them clearly not to register it. Because UPU is not a private entity.
Yeah.
UPU belongs to those who are members of UPU.
Yeah.
And it's a limited company. I don't know if you follow me when it's a limited company. UPU is a limited company. It's a public entity. It's not a limited company that is owned, because that's what limited company is, owned by the shareholders. Who are those who own UPU? It's not those who registered it. So they're just lucky some of us actually were not interested in what they were doing, so couldn't care less. We say are not interested. At any time, that would not stand the test of time if it was tested in court, definitely. That's my knowledge of it. A limited company, a private limited company is owned by certain persons, and those are the people that put their names down. So it doesn't work. It doesn't wash at all. Forget that. It's not going to go anywhere. No,
but that is the situation that we have, though. That
is the Ganiga. That's the Ganiga side of it.
Yes.
It's not. In fact, us in Angos we registered a community, not a Rural Progress Union.
Yeah.
It's community whatever, which is quite different from the UPU that we're talking about. But it should not be a big problem at all. A private company is different from a public entity. That registration is those. I mean, you can use any name. You can go try and register UP as a limited company as well. Nothing stops you. In any other shape, maybe Urhobo, whatever, United. It's UPU as well.
And it will still be UPU.
So
yeah.
It's UPU as well. That's a private company owned by you and your shareholders.
Okay. So at least we
there's only one UPU, and that is the one registered in Nigeria. Every other one is just a franchise. It's called a franchise of the parent body. All other UPUs registered anywhere outside of the headquarters are just franchises. That's why they tell you can use bylaws modified to suit your local environment. Bylaws that suit your local environment. Like here, you can't discriminate that woman cannot be this, woman cannot be that. But back home, they get away with it. The woman cannot be president. So you need to modify your laws here, called bylaws, to make sure you do not fall foul of the rules in this country. So you have to make it open. A woman can be president of UP in this country. Those are those things that you can't do. But the main parent body called Rural Progress Union is registered in Nigeria. We are just franchises. That's all.
Okay. I think we have done so much as to the meeting that was held yesterday. I'm thinking that it would be good for us to wind this podcast down. But before you guys go, I would like to ask you individually what you think would come out of this. I mean, I'm optimistic. Personally, I believe that at the end of the day, just to borrow the words of the gentleman at the meeting yesterday, that there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel. I believe strongly that, something we give for Urhobo to actually come together. It might not be this year, personally. That is what I think. It might not be this year, but I'm thinking that the train has already left the station and it's going to carry on until we get to the destination. Sylvester.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you totally on that. I am quite positive as something will give, so long as we keep a proper eye on the elephant, the big elephant in the room. If we keep a proper eye on that and always bear that in mind, then I'm sure that something good will come out of it. As you said, it might not be this year, but if it's not this year, I think it's going to be a problem because there are lots of people just itching to get this thing done now. Not even ready to wait till Ganiga's term finishes in August. They want it done now. And as you and I well know, if you're asking someone who's still in office to submit himself to elections, it's difficult. I would have thought the best thing would be to let him finish his term. So if you are saying next year, I would suggest that. I would think in my mind, I don't have any power to suggest anything to anybody. I would think that it will be after August when he has finished his term.
Yeah, but I think that is where they are going to. Mejero, what do you say?
I'm slightly optimistic. Yesterday was encouraging. However, we just need to make sure that people continue to participate and people continue to make their voices heard, and not fall away by the wayside and say, oh, I can't be bothered. We just need to make sure that everybody participates. And we really need to see the youth coming out and you making their voices heard and making themselves present and known that they too are interested in this. We need more people to get involved in this to really drive it forward.
Just to say something here that I was a bit disappointed at the youth yesterday at the meeting, though, because the turnout was really, really poor. I'm thinking it's the same, elders and, people in their middle ages that actually filled the hall yesterday. Yeah. People like them, bros, Sylvester, Efole, the brosses.
Who are 50 already, yes. That is true. People like us.
But you are the people that keep it going for us.
Thank you very much.
And we appreciate it. But the younger generation really need to participate and really 100%. Need to make their voices heard. Because there are things that we can bring and that we can do, and we're not showing what we can do. I'm not going to go on about the lack of engagement.
It'd be also you guys to push them to come out, really. I'm sure you have friends, but you guys have done very well. It's not because we're here. You guys have done very well. Because in my time, 15, 20 years ago, when I would have passed for a youth, not many of the youth turned out. Just a few of us turned out. We're still here. But looking behind me yesterday, I saw close to 10 people you can say were youths were there yesterday. So don't beat yourself too much.
Is 10 people really enough?
No, I was actually expecting the hall to be filled up with, the younger ones.
I appreciate that we're going to take baby steps and we will get there eventually, but I will just plead with the youth that it's not enough to grumble in the background and say, we do not want to do things like the older generation. Come forward and let your voice be heard. Come forward and let them see you. Come forward so they know that you want to participate. You have something to do. You have something to say, and you want to do something for the Urhobo community.
Because in the interview that I had with Chief Mejero, he said that the problem of the youth, that he's going to put it back, he's going to throw it back at the youth, that because if they don't participate, then how do we know people who are going to stand in tomorrow? Because it is by participating, that is when you know the leaders of tomorrow, even if they are not leaders as at that particular time, but then they are already budding. We already know that, okay, this person can do this can do that, and then they begin to push them towards what they are good at. Some will be president in the future, some will be secretaries and all that, but it is only when they are able to show at meetings and participating in activities, that is when we'll be able to tell that, okay, these are our future. But if we just sit in our homes, we grumble and begin to say, oh no, you know what, you their one is too much, I'd rather just stay at home. Who is going to repair Urhobo for you? Don't forget, you have children. And most of these youth people that we are talking about, the youth that we're talking about, they are people who are over 30 anyway. They have their kids coming. What kind of Urhobo do we want to leave for the kids?
It behoves on you guys. I know you guys do a good job. Okay? I can see a good crop of young Urhobos. In my time, I wish we had so many. I keep saying, don't beat yourself too much. You guys are doing well. You can do better, just like the rest of us. You guys need to think about how to get more of them to participate, but don't beat yourself too much. I can just imagine 20 years ago when we were in it, you'll find one or two. Some don't even want to know. Some pretend they're not Urhobos. Honestly. They pretend they're not robots. We know they are robots. We know their families are not here. But they just ignore you, what? No, they're not interested. But look at the crowd that came yesterday from you guys, about 10 or so. So don't beat yourself too much. You just need to work a bit harder. I'm sure it will work. It will come out fine for you guys. But you've done very well. That's what I would say.
Well, you know what? I think we'll better leave it here. I want to thank the both of you so much. Mejero, Uwejeya, thank you very much for this very brilliant get-together, I will say. An Urhobo get-together, the after meeting of the meeting. and Mr. Sylvester, Efole, bros, I thank you very much. You know, I know when I called you yesterday, it was like, will he even bother? You know, and I'm very pleased.
Well done.
I'm very pleased that.
No worries.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So thank you again, Urobo. Again, this is Urhobocast. It's out there. It's happening. Things are going on. A lot of activities taking place, meetings and all that. The call is that the youth should come around and be part of what is going on in Urhobo right now. Chief Uwejeya called the other time. Everybody should attend. Now, also, after the meeting yesterday, or before the meeting ended, Chief Uwejeya said that there was going to be a subsequent meeting to this. So I'm hoping that the turnout will be better in the subsequent one. So, Urhobo, is over to you. So once again, thank you very much to my guest, and have a beautiful evening and night rest.
Thank you very much.
Ụfọdụ ebe ka igwe bụ ka gwa mmemme ya bụ ya